All right, so we have a midterm coming up. I've been asked about this, so we might as well go through it this morning. By the way, good morning. How's everyone doing?
Alive.
Alive. 2 thumbs up. That's great. Sad face. Understood. Yeah, hanging in there. All right, I get it. I get it. All right. So since this class has an online section, you're allowed to take this online, although I'm going to highly recommend you do this in class because Blackboard will betray you and give you a 0. Just fair warning. But we'll go ahead and take it. Hang on. You may take your exam online on October 14th in class, and you will have 2 sections. Keep in mind that the midterm will be due, let's see, 23:59 October 14th. So if you decide to take it online, you have until then to complete it. It'll have a Blackboard section which will consist of standard essay/short paper answers, and it will have a HackerRank section which will consist of you coding within a time limit. I understand for some of y'all that might be stressful, but I'm not trying to throw any curveballs here, even though I'm sure some of them are going to come off that way. I'm trying to keep them straightforward, but it is important to demonstrate that you can code certain problems within a certain time limit. And that part is usually you have 2 hours and 3 problems to solve. You may think 2 hours is plenty, but, well, you'll see what happens. Just got to get through this. The exam will consist of program problems that are solved through HackerRank and analysis of algorithms showing the state of each step through Blackboard. So we've talked about certain algorithms and we've talked about the state of data structures, so I want to make sure you can show that. Additionally, there'll be some concept questions on Blackboard. I'll be grading on the logic concepts, aka your style, clarity, performance of your code, and your ability to perform analysis of code/algorithms, so I'm going to look for both. It is your best interest to be verbose on Blackboard as possible, so I can award as many points as possible. Oh, was that a no, or you're okay?
I forgot to sneeze.
Oh, okay. I'm looking for logic concepts as well as style, clarity, and performance of your code. So there's a lot of, I'm looking at everything. Just help me out here. The material will cover what we've discussed so far, including a couple things we have yet to. That's why it's on October 14th and not, next class. So we'll be doing arrays, singly, doubly linked list, operator overloading, templates. You'll probably not see anything about operator overloading. Searching, sorting, so it's bubble, and we're going to talk about soon selection, insertion, quick, and merge. Pointers, the different types of memory, big O analysis, stacks, queues, and of course, recursion. So of that, we have not talked about selection, sort, insertion, sort, quick sort, or merge. Today we're going to finish up on queues because I think there's one very important, actually we're going to finish up on stacks and queues because we studied them, but we didn't exactly go into examples of why we use them, and that's what today is going to be. And then we'll go over to selection, insertion, quick, and merge sort. All right, here's an example that you may see. I give you a doubly linked list. I give you the interface, I give you what a node looks like. Doubly linked list, of course, has the head and tail. And then I ask you to implement print reverse function that prints all the items in reverse. So here's print reverse. Implement the insert end. So I give you a value, I want you to insert it at the end of this doubly linked list, similar to what we did in class. Implement insert sorted, which takes the value and searches through the linked list until it finds the spot that you're supposed to put it and then puts it right there. Maintaining a sorted list. So it's assumed that before this function is called, the doubly linked list is sorted, and you just need to put it in a place to maintain the sorted attribute of the doubly linked list. These are examples. Obviously, I am not going to ask you these 3 questions because here they are. I'll be asking you some other types of questions on HackerRank. Naturally, I may add a little twist to a data structure, or I may simply say, hey, here's a problem, you solve it, you know your data structures. All right. Every single time I do this. The following question I'm about ready to show you is going to be on the exam. I'm just going to change the numbers, okay? I'm only going to change the numbers. It's going to be the exact same question. It's a very important question, and no matter how many times I tell you this, I don't know why, what happens, but a lot of people fail it. I don't get it. Maybe you can help me, but it's important. Perform bubble selection or insertion sort on the following. Be sure to tell me what sort you're doing and show each step. All right? So if you're doing a bubble sort, for example, and you're trying to go from least to greatest, this would stay at 2. That would stay in 8. This would be swapped with the 0. The 9 would be swapped with the 5. The 6 would be swapped with the 9. The 1 would be swapped with the 9. The 3 would be swapped with the 9. The 4 would be swapped with the 9. The 7 would be swapped with the 9. And there's the 9. So you see how the 9 bubbled up? That's step 1. Then you do it again until you're done. And you have to say up here, right up here, I used bubble sort. Okay? All right. I'm going to take this question verbatim, paste it into the exam, but change the numbers. I'm actually not going to change the set of numbers. It's going to be from 0 to 9. It's just going to be in a different order. Okay? All right. And then the one twist, use the same set of data and perform quick or merge sort. Why was it faster? So when we study quick and merge sort, be careful. I'm going to ask you on the exam, why is it faster? You should be able to tell me why it is faster. It'll be a one-sentence answer. Why is it faster? Sorry. Okay. Have I beaten the dead horse yet? Don't know? Might still be making sounds? All right. Warning, warning, warning. Danger, danger, danger. A significant portion of the exam will have to be done through Blackboard, for better or for worse. That's what the university, well, essentially what's going to happen. When you open up your exam on Blackboard, whether you're in class or you're doing this out of class, the first thing you do, Control-A, copy all the questions, paste them into a Word document. Don't do anything else until you've done that. The reason for this is Blackboard is going to betray one of y'all and just randomly close it on you, issue you a 0, and then you're out of luck. If it does that and you've copied it to a Word document, you're allowed to email it to me. Emails have timestamps, so I can trust the timestamp that you did it within the time frame, because Blackboard will tell me when you started, the email will tell me when you submitted it to me, so I can make sure that you did it within the allotted time. And I will accept that because I know how Blackboard is. But you have to do it within that allotted time. Let me be very clear here though. If Blackboard crashes and you do not email me your work by the end of exam time, your Blackboard midterm grade is a 0. All right? That's just how it's got to be. If you're in class and Blackboard betrays you, I can walk over and go, oh, hey, look, that happened, and I'll reopen it for you. But if you do it online, you don't get that, but the way you save yourself is copy it to a Word document. All right, everyone got that? Okay. So HackerRank. So I've talked about HackerRank, but I haven't quite showed you how this works. So this is HackerRank. When you take this, I'm going to log in with one of my users, but when you log in, you're going to be given a direct link to the problem set. So you're not going to have to necessarily do all this login and whatnot. But let's see, let's go, sure, algorithms. Simple array sum, that sounds great. So I wanted to give you an example of how HackerRank works. So the idea is that you'll have your exam, you're going to have 3 problems. Your problems are going to look something like this, except for you won't have submissions, leaderboard, discussion, or editorial up there. It's just going to be the problem. So it's going to look just like this. You'll have a description, give an array of integers, find the sum of its elements. All right. Obviously, this is a straightforward, simple one. I'm just trying to give you an example. Might give you a function description. Now, input. HackerRank in general is going to ask you to do things from standard in and print to standard out. I am not going to require that. In fact, you're going to have something that looks more like this, where I handle main, and then I just want you to implement a single function. And this is the function where I want you to return the sum of all the elements in the array. So what you do is you go in here, let's go ahead and do int sum equals 0 for int I equals 0, I is less than AR dot length, I plus plus. Oh, this is in Java. Oh well. Sorry about that. And then you return sum. You can click run code. And it's going to run the code and give you sample test. So the way they usually do it is how many elements in the array followed by what values. So it says you passed, you're green, you passed the simple test case. You can go test against custom input, and then if I could put in a 7 here, and we'll go ahead and make sure that this is formatted correctly. And I think, what was the answer, 31? Yeah, so I can add another number. I'll add 12, so it should be what, 43? Now when you run the code, it's not going to immediately know if you're correct. It's just going to run it and tell you what the answer is. Compilation successful. If there's a compilation error, it will go and tell you right there, hey look, you messed up something. So let's go ahead and scroll right up here. Delete our good old friend the semicolon. Run the code. Compilation error. Don't expected that right there, one error. So then you can go back and you can fix it and then run the code. When you believe you have it up and running, you can hit submit the code. And okay, this one only has 3 test cases. It'll run it. If you pass all 3 test cases, you got it completely correct. Notice you are allowed to get partial credit. This is very similar to the auto grader, because if there's 5 cases and you got 4 of them, you got 80% of the problem correct. So you can have partial credit here. But there's going to be 3 problems. You're allowed to do them in any order you wish. So if you get stuck on one, I highly suggest you move on to a different one. If you get partial credit on one, you probably should start looking at the other ones, especially if you can't figure it out. But this is kind of a web interface to the whole AutoGrader environment that we've had so far. Let me do a couple of other things about this. Your time limit is for all the problems, not just one. So I think I give you either an hour and a half or 2 hours to do all 3. You may do the problems in any order. Each question has a set of test cases to pass. Your grade will be based on the percentage of test cases you pass. Manage your time. One thing that will trip you up in this type of environment is, since you are timed, you may get too focused on one problem and forget to look at the other 2. It is very common in these situations that the first problem is not necessarily the easiest. You may submit for testing as many times as you wish, just like the auto grader. You can keep submitting. But keep in mind that your last submission is the grade I'm going to use, not your highest. So if all of a sudden you're getting only 1 test case and previously you got 4, I highly suggest you copy your old one, paste it, and then hit submit. Yeah, you can submit. HackerRank does periodically save your responses, and if your computer completely shuts down and crashes, you can just go onto a new machine, log back in, and start from where you left off, unlike Blackboard. So we don't have that. We don't have the Blackboard issue here. Blackboard is 50% of your grade. HackerRank is the other 50% of your midterm. All right. Any questions?
Do you recommend that we take the HackerRank section in here, or do we do that one at home?
You're going to do that one at home. You can take it here if you have time, but I doubt it. The reason I break this up is because you probably don't want to do it back to back, especially if tests stress you out. Don't do it back to back. But if you just want to knock it all out, I mean, by all means, do it. Right? I broke it up because of that. Some people just have a difficult time jumping between the 2. So this is a nice way to break it up.
This isn't, well, it slows down tremendously, but this isn't open node, is it?
Oh, it has to be, because it's online.
Cool, I'm just making sure of that.
Yeah, since it's online, I have to assume you're all going to cheat and use Google. Use Google. Yes. The downside of that is I've written the problems with that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah. I could try and, I can make y'all pay a a tutor to watch what you're doing on your computer. I mean, who wants? Do any of y'all want to do that? No, that's just
that'd
a no.
suck royally.
What's that?
That would suck royally.
Yeah, well, a lot of classes do that, and look, guys, I'm just going to work with reality and the fact that everyone uses Google, because in reality, that's what you're going to do at work, right? Oh, Stack Overflow. Thank you, Stack Overflow. This is great. Come on, guys. Did you have a question? No? Oh, okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Just to clarify, the Blackboard is an hour and a half, and the Hacker Rank is also an hour and a half?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Okay.
I might issue 2 hours, depending on the situation, but I believe usually I stick with hour and a half.
We have written said 90 minutes.
Yeah, 90 minutes for each.
Right.
Yeah. The Blackboard is going to be 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. The Hacker Rank is usually 90 minutes. It depends on which problems I select. Sometimes, I guess I do issue that it needs to be a little more. I mean, the way I do this is I do it, and I take whatever takes me to do it, multiply it by 8, add 20 minutes, and that's how long I expect y'all to do it.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Really quiet today.
I'm pretty tired.
Pretty
Only
tired.
Like 7 people? I don't quite have an accurate head count.
8. You forgot to count yourself. You were being altruistic.
Right.
Yes,
Let's go.
that's what it was.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.